Yeah, so my new book, I have a new book coming out in July called Sex on the Moon. It turns out that the same producers who made The Social Network, Scott Rudin, Kevin Spacey, Dana Bernetti, and Mike DeLuca, are going to make this with Sony, the same studio. And so the book comes out in July, and it's an incredible story, so hopefully the movie will move quickly as well.
That's fantastic. Tell us a little about that story.
Sure. This is a kid, a college kid, a genius, who was working at NASA, who was basically in the astronaut training program. He was a co-op at NASA. He was the next going to be in the next class, hopefully, to become an astronaut. And he fell in love with a 19-year-old girl and decided to do something absolutely crazy to impress her. Convinced her to go along with it and her 19-year-old friend. And he broke into the lunar lab at NASA, which is one of the most secure buildings on Earth, and he stole a 600-pound safe full of moon rocks from every moon landing in history. An incredible story. It was the most valuable thing on Earth. They're illegal to own. They're illegal to sell. President, we're the only country that has them because we're the only people who've gotten to the moon. And we'll never go again probably, so that's it. And the president gives them away as gifts to heads of state. So he decides he's going to try and sell this safe. It's worth $500 billion. But of course, no one can buy it, right? So he finds this Belgian gem dealer online, right? Who it turns out, of course, has gone to the FBI because someone is trying to sell him moon rocks. So this kid has no idea that it's an FBI plant. He goes in, it's in Orlando, Florida, where he tries to sell it. 50 FBI agents, helicopters, but they're all dressed as like waiters and stuff. And it's great. I managed to get the tapes from the FBI sting operation, and the first thing this kid says, he walks into the restaurant, he goes, "Man, if you're an FBI agent, I'm fucked." FBI agent. And he ends up getting caught. He takes the fall for the girls, so they won't get in any trouble, and he gets 7 years in prison, in federal prison. For what to him was like a college prank. He had spread the moon rocks on a bed and had sex with his girlfriend on the moon. So it's an absolutely incredible story. And he spent 7 years in prison.
Just keep that image the next time. Right. President Obama says to the head of the Russian Federation, "Here's your moon rock." Amazing story.
And what's crazy is, so he spent 7 years in prison. He gets out of prison and then calls me. And I get this call through a friend of mine who he was staying in a halfway house that this friend's family involved with.
He was an internet entrepreneur.
Who was an internet entrepreneur, a guy named Neil Robertson, who some of you might have heard of, who sold a company when he was 18 for $180 million from his MIT dorm room. And his new company is called Trada, T-R-A-D-A. Brilliant kid. Biggest Vegas partier. I think he's the #1 spender at the Hard Rock. And he doesn't gamble. So that's spectacular. We're talking $100,000 bar tabs. I mean, that guy is amazing. But anyways,
just wait till Domain Fest gets in.
right. So this kid calls me up, and I fly out to Utah, and I'm meeting a kid who just got out of 7-year federal prison. So it's kind of terrifying because you have no idea what's coming. But he's just this nice, smart. He's back at the University of Utah getting his PhD in like astrophysics. I mean, he's a genius who just did something absolutely crazy. And NASA completely covered the story up. No one's heard it really. Very few articles were ever written. And I had total access, so it's going to be this amazing book, comes out in July. This is actually the first time I've spoken about it, because we kept it a secret for as long as possible because NASA is not thrilled about it. But I figure I dealt with Facebook, right? I can deal with NASA. But actually, it's a very positive story. I don't know if any of you know anything about NASA, but the only images you ever see of NASA are from like the 1960s. It was the moon landing. No one has told a story set now there. And the place is all obsessed with Mars. It's all about getting to Mars. And I think it's an incredible place, and I spent a lot of time there. And I think this book and movie are going to be amazing.